So this question, why am I here? You posed this question, Loreleila, and I think you prefaced it by saying that it's not an existential or a metaphysical question. Straightforward question, why are you here on YouTube? And I got thinking about that, but it did kind of turn into an existential question. But I'll see if I can just rehearse the steps that took me there, really. Because when I was thinking, because when I asked myself that question, why am I here on YouTube? The question immediately just kind of disassembled itself into three parts, really, and they're quite separate. The first thing is, and to do with how you might answer that, you know. And the first thing is to do with, you know, how you came to be here. You know, there's a way I could respond to that question, or other people could respond to that question, why are you here, by telling a story about the stages you went through to get yourself here. You know, and I've got my story and so on. But there's another part to that which I think is quite different, which is, you know, why do you stay here? And why you stay here, at least for myself, is not the same reason that brought me here. In fact, I couldn't know why I stay here before I started being here, if you know what I mean. Because I found things out once I was here. Became engaged in a set of practices here that I didn't anticipate prior to my being involved in it. I couldn't anticipate, and couldn't, you know, you have to have had the experience of it to know of it. So yeah, so the things that I'm doing now and that keep me here, that the why of that is very different to the why of origins. And there's a third one which I haven't really thought through properly yet, which is about, you know, what it would take for me to leave here. You know, because obviously I guess at least I'm getting something from this experience. I don't know what it is exactly, but I guess. And one thing that might propel me off here is if that stopped delivering in some way. I don't know what, again, as I say, I don't know what that would be, but maybe there's other things, maybe there's actual positive events, you know what I mean? Maybe if I suddenly started being attacked, or suddenly started getting a lot of haters, or suddenly I don't know, or just started being completely ignored. You know, everybody just thought I was really boring, dull fart with a badly trimmed beard and a stupid hat, and went elsewhere. You know, maybe that would be enough. But that would be a kind of deprivation, wouldn't it? So I don't know. But I think there's a third part of that, why are you here, which is to do with what it would take for you to not be here. But this first two, because as I say, I haven't really thought out that last one yet. The first two about the separation between the why, which is about motivations for being here and origins, and the disconnect that has with the why of continued existence, the why of continuing to be here. You know, why do I keep making these videos and watching other people's videos and talking to you or Loreleila, or talking to other people, or, you know, responding to comments and so on, and telling things about my life and stuff. And the fact that this second question, why am I doing this, why am I here, the fact there is this separation between that and the origins question makes it kind of rootless in this weird way. You know what I mean? I can't justify what I'm doing here, my continuing presence here, by talking about how I got here. You know, they're separate domains of inquiry, aren't they, really? So it feels, in a sense, that I just found myself here, you know, because of that disconnect. I just found myself here. You know, I've been cast here somehow, cast into the world, and here I am behind the wheels of a large webcam. Yeah, and it has that, as I say, that's weird. You know, you come down a motorway slip road, you know, and you match the speed of the traffic, and then you're with the traffic, and then when you're in the traffic, that's kind of different to the coming down the slip road and matching your speed, isn't it, really? You can't account for the driving, you can't account for the driving on the motorway at 70 by talking about matching speed and merging and slip roads. You know, they're different kinds of practices and disciplines and discourses, I guess. So yeah, finding yourself always already here is the question, is the thing. And once you're always already here, you know, because that's kind of how it is, isn't it? You just find yourself here, as you find yourself in life, I guess, in a way. Once you find yourself always already here, then it becomes weird to think about not being here. And of course people do close their channels and people do exit gracefully or gracelessly from the scene, but it's hard to kind of think that moment, isn't it? Kind of hard to think that moment. Yeah. I can imagine a future. This is probably speculating way beyond what I should be talking about. I can kind of imagine a future when the limits of our self-expression, and I need to talk about self-expression, but I'll do it at some other point. And by that I don't mean kind of being an artist or being an expressive writer or something like that, or a particularly expressive individual, just the natural expressivity of a human being in the world, or an animal or an entity in the world. I think I can imagine the limits of our expressivity, which I guess at the moment kind of stop at the orbit of your arms, don't they, kind of. I can easily imagine that extending out into this kind of virtual realm that we're all involved in here, you know, so that so this sense of being which I've got in my skin right now is kind of, you know, partially extended that way as well. So I'm starting to sound like Matt, aren't I? Matt, thou art that, or like Pirro on one of his more fanciful days. But I can easily imagine that happening in the future, you know, that the borders of one's own being, as expressed through the technologies of the flesh, but also the technologies of screen and camera, being, you know, making that question that you asked there absolutely an existential question. Why are you here? On YouTube could be the same. It's exactly the same question in some way as why are you there in the flesh? It's because this is where my expressivity begins and ends, and I didn't make the decision to be like this. It was just, I just found myself always already here. How do I get out of here? How do I work this? Where does this highway go to? What do you think, Phoebes? What do you think? Phoebe? Why are you here? Phoebe, why are you here? Tell me. Why are you here? Why are you here?